morning, colleagues, and Madam PS, the floor is yours. The country is waiting to hear exactly what is taking place and what will happen even as we are doing elections. Madam PS, you're most welcome.
The Executive Director, the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, a happy new year to you all. And good morning to you all. Today we are here to make a statement on what is going on in regard to misinformation, disinformation that we are realizing as we move towards the election period. As Uganda approaches the election period, the public engagement has intensified and is expected, which is expected in any democratic environment. Alongside this increased participation, however, we have also seen a rise in misinformation, particularly on digital platforms. One of the most persistent claims currently circulating is that the government of Uganda intends to switch off the internet during elections. But let me state this clearly and without any ambiguity. The government has not announced or has not directed or implemented any decision to shut down the internet during the election period. Claims suggesting otherwise are false claims and are therefore misleading. Such misinformation necessarily creates fear, it undermines public confidence, and it also risks heightening tension at a critical national moment like this one. The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance remains committed to promote access to information, to promote digital inclusion and the responsible use of information and communication technologies. And of course, this we are doing together with the agencies that are mandated to run the operationalization and implementation of the policies under the ministry. ICTs and media platforms play a central role in democratic participation by enabling citizens to access accurate and timely information. That role becomes even more critical during the election period. Therefore, in this regard, the ministry continues to work closely with the Uganda Communications Commission, who are the regulator of the communication space, to prepare the media sector for this period. Together, we have engaged broadcasters and media stakeholders across the country to reinforce professionalism, ethical conduct, and accountability in election coverage. These efforts have been complemented by ongoing nationwide sensitization through radios, digital platforms, television, and direct engagement with media practitioners. Responsible media coverage during elections is not therefore optional. It is essential for peace, public order, and national stability. Media platforms must not be abused to incite violence, spread falsehoods, or undermine the credibility of the electoral process. The misuse of both traditional and digital media by political actors or individuals in pursuit of narrow interests will not be tolerated. Broadcasters and online media practitioners are reminded that live broadcasting or streamlining of riots, unlawful processions, or violent incidents is prohibited, as it can escalate tensions and spread panic among the population. The dissemination of inciting hateful or violent content is unlawful and attracts enforcement action by the different parties responsible for this. Additionally, the declaration of election results remains the sole mandate of the Electoral Commission, and the broadcasting or sharing of unverified or premature results is therefore illegal. On this note, digital platforms are not exempt from the law. The Computer Misuse Act is the regulation that amplifies fully to online conduct, including the spread of false information and offensive communication, and how we deal with it in the event that it is breached. Freedom of expression must be exercised responsibly and within the framework of the law. When we say we have freedom of expression, it doesn't mean that this should be abused, but it should be done in a way that is responsible and mature by the people expressing themselves. The Uganda Communication Commission, working with the relevant stakeholders, is actively monitoring broadcast and online media. And I think the detail we are going to get from the Executive Director on what is being done. Any violations will be addressed in accordance with the law, including regulatory sanctions where necessary and if called for. As we move closer to the polling day, which is the 15th of January 2026, I urge media owners, editors, journalists, digital publishers, and the public to rely on verified information and official sources. I also call upon all citizens to act responsibly online and offline and to reject misinformation intended to cause fear or division. For example, the article that was running online over the weekend that UCC is going to shut down the internet, we are going to have mobile money, closed off and everything, implying the economy is going to go down. That was all false allegations, and we have come out clearly and categorically to say so. So our collective responsibility as government is to ensure that ICTs and the media contribute to peaceful, credible elections and national unity. Let us use these platforms in the service of truth, stability, and for the public good. And I say this for God and my country. Thank you very much. Have the correct information disseminated to the public, that we have responsible use of internet, that we have responsible use of ICTs. I will call upon the Executive Director of Uganda Communication.
Thank you, Madam PS, the Executive Director, my colleague at the Uganda Media Center, the press, the viewers. Madam PS, I think you've really put everything in the framework would like our people to understand and appreciate the situation. But I'll hasten to add that I think our viewers appreciate when we talk of misinformation from what has been going around in the media in the past 2 days, 3 days. You now appreciate why misinformation really can cause a lot of anxiety. That document was not originated by UCC. Our document, as you know, our media engagement, we always do it officially. So we want to appeal to the general public that before you share any information online, first verify. It's not difficult to verify. Our offices are open. Our public relations office is always ready to receive these questions of clarifications. Please clarify. Like the PS has said, I want to repeat that what has been circulating, that internet is going to be switched off, is definitely not the position of government. Because as regulators, there's no way such would happen or would be in preparation without my knowledge. Somebody would have told me to prepare. I want to assure the nation, nobody has told me to prepare for that. I don't know, because we have these stakeholders whom we always consult. We have consumers. Consumers haven't indicated to me that they want the internet switched off, unless if the media tell me so, that the people out there are yearning for the closure of the internet. The regulator will definitely listen to the consumers. If consumers tell us and say, the internet is causing us problems, we'll evaluate that and see whether it is proper to do that. But the consumers haven't told us that. Two, the operators. The operators can also tell us that maybe they have problems, so they are going to, maybe they have to notify us. The operators haven't done that. And they wouldn't do that because data, internet, is their cash cow. That's how they make money. And that's the public service which they give to our people. Another stakeholder is government. Nobody in government has told me anything, even related to closure or switching off of the internet. Those are the three major stakeholders who would tell me to prepare. I may repeat, consumers haven't told me. Operators haven't told me to prepare for that. Government hasn't told me to prepare for that. So this speculation is very, very unfortunate. If this were to happen, definitely we'll come out as regulator to brief the country, to brief our stakeholders as to why it should happen. So we would appeal to the general public to stop speculation, go about your work, business as usual, like we are doing our work, business as usual, so there is no cause for alarm. If there is anything, if those three stakeholders told me anything, I'll share with you. Because I'm here under the law, I'm here to share with you whatever actions would want to take. UCC is a statutory agency there to protect the consumers, to regulate the communication space, and we do it transparently with accountability to the people, with accountability to the population. There's nothing we'll do in whispers. There's nothing we'll do in hiding. If we are to take any intervention, we'll share it with the general public. So there is no reason why we should speculate on this. Another issue, Madam PS, is the issue of Starlink. I want to assure the nation that we are processing the license of Starlink. For the past 6 months or so, the UCC has been processing the license of Starlink. Processing a license is not an event, it's a process. A lot of things for public interest, which we have to ensure. We have asked them for documentation, we have asked them for clarifications. I'm happy to tell you that most of these, they are provided. So we are processing. We are processing. And as you know, the law gives the regulator only 6 days. If I was given all the documents, if all my clarification I wanted were given to me, the law gives me only 60 days in which to process a license. I have not that choice of saying I can do it after 60 days, I can do it in 100 days. No, only 60 days. But that is if you've answered all my clarifications. I have to issue the license within 60 days. Starlink company knows very well how this engagement is moving. However, Madam PS and the general public, we've been seeing in the market, there have been people who have been using these Starlink terminals to get internet, and that was illegal because Starlink had to be licensed to operate in Uganda. The equipment used, the terminal, the routers, and all other such related devices have to be type approved by the Commission before usage. However, you know that there have been some people, and we have evidence to this effect, who have been receiving signals. Why? Because some of our partners in the region already have licensed Starlink. And as you know, signals respects no boundaries. But that being that, each jurisdiction has a different licensing regime. We are different countries. So there is no signal that can be allowed in Uganda if the operator is not licensed in Uganda. That's why we had to caution Starlink. We have to ask them that we see your signals, and there are some our people who are overzealous. They're already using your equipment. And you saw the response which they have done. We want to thank Starlink for being responsible. So they have geo-locked all signals in the jurisdiction of Uganda. You can't get internet. We've heard that there are some people who have global account, global roaming, and regional roaming. We are seeking clarification on this. This also must be geo-locked because Starlink has no license in Uganda. This is a normal regulatory activity. It's not because of elections. Elections are going to be there on the 15th. We shall continue to do our work as regulators. Elections were not there when Starlink applied for the application. I didn't think Starlink applied to operate in Uganda because of elections. It's our normal regulatory work. It's not only Starlink who is applying to have this kind of services. As you know, there are so many other providers, OneWeb, Project Kuiper, so many satellite operators whom we shall be, whose application to operate in Uganda will be processing. You've had the announcement already between Airtel Africa and Starlink, where they have collaborated to provide internet via the core network of Airtel. Airtel is already licensed in Uganda, so this partnership, we have no problem. Of course, we shall have to ink our approval on this partnership, but we have no problem with it because already so. We are not preventing Ugandan from enjoying the services of Starlink. I want to assure Ugandan that already the services of Starlink have already been installed by Airtel officially, that come a few weeks, if not days from now, you will be able to directly get signal through your Airtel line to access internet anywhere in the country via their core network. So we are not preventing the country from enjoying that ubiquitousness of satellite technology. That one I wanted to clarify very, very well. Because some people have been saying probably by delaying, and we are not delaying. I told you the law only gives me 60 days. Why haven't we approved this license for the past 1 year? Because all the time they bring their requisition, we ask you questions on your behalf. We do it on your behalf through the law. They have to clarify to us. If you are not satisfied, we ask for clarifications. We process. As I told you, issuing a license is not an event, it's a process. And a rigorous process for that matter. Because the communication business is not a usual, normal business. This is business that affects lives of so many people. So before we issue a license, we have even to publish it in the Gazette, and we call for your comments at the general public. And what you tell us also inform whether we should issue a license or not. So when you see that happening, you know that we are reaching the tail end of the license issuing process to Starlink and other satellite operators like OneWeb, like Amazon, who have already also asked us to start the process. Madam PS and the general public, I want to use this opportunity also to remind the broadcasters. We've been, Madam PS, engaging the media at a regional level. We've done that. We've engaged the media at the owners level as UCC. I've engaged the media at the foot soldier level, an informal engagement where we have interacted, again talking about these things. Now I want to, again, just reminding you, because we have talked about these matters, live broadcasting or live streaming of riots, unlawful processions, or violent incidents, as you know, is prohibited. You know that. And sometimes you must know the background of this. In your studios, you have the delay mechanism. Why do you have the delay mechanism? To allow your editors to sieve the content you bring to the public. And this is the international best practice. You don't just get any content and deliver it without reviewing it. So how do you review live streaming as a broadcaster? How do you review it? That's why we prohibit it. Take the content to your studio where the delay mechanism is so that they can review content before they give it to the public. So I want to reiterate this. Such a coverage risks spreading panic and undermining public order. It is prohibited. And let me tell you, anything, when I come here and I tell you this is prohibited, this is not allowed, we are allowed under the law to do that. If you are not sure, go and ask somebody who received that license which you have on your behalf. You have what we call licensing obligations. I'll interest you to go and read that license, which is a contract between yourself, the regulator, and the government, and that it means, by extension, that is a contract between you and the people of Uganda, because we act on behalf of the people of Uganda to license you. A license has obligations. I want to interest you to read these licenses and internalize them very, very well, because I've been hearing some innuendos that where do you get those powers? I want to assure you there is no regulatory declaration I'll do which is unlawful. And I also want you to appreciate this. UCC is not final. This is a country that follows law. If you think that the intervention we are doing is unlawful, you don't break that intervention. You don't break the rule. You don't break the regulation you have issued. What you can do, probably, you take us to another level, whereby somebody bigger than both of us can adjudicate and say, yes, I think UCC you are wrong. But don't break these directives. These are lawful. We are empowered. I'm empowered to make these directives. If you think the directives are unlawful, you can choose to take me to somebody who is bigger than us. And those are the courts of law, so that they can adjudicate. And I want to assure you that I have one of the best chambers in this country. So by the time I issue these directives, really, they have been chewed up to make sure that they are very lawful. So before you waste your money filing those very, very complicated filings, I know how it costs to file a petition in court, and I know how financially you are performing, most of you, I wouldn't advise you. Yes, I know, because you file your returns with me every month. So before you waste your money, please, I would advise that you come to me maybe and say, is this really true? Then I will explain before you go to course of law, because we shall go to the course of law and I'll leave you there. So I want to caution you. Incitement, hate speech, and violent content, whether broadcast or posted online, are strictly prohibited and will attract immediate enforcement action. Note that. I'm just reminding you, because I've already written to you, and Madam PS, you provide me with a lot of ink, with the toners. I will not get tired, because you have provided me with a lot of toners and printers. I'm going to remind you again before the end of this week. I'm going to write again the same letter I wrote 3 months back. I'm going to, because I have no shortage of toner and printers, again to remind you, to know that these matters are very, very serious. I'll remind you. Even if it's reminding you 10 times, I'll do it, because that's the work we are doing on behalf of Ugandans. The declaration of election results is the sole mandate of the Electoral Commission. Unofficial tally centers, premature announcements of results, or broadcast unverified results are unlawful. Madam Pierce, you've alluded to this. I just want to re-emphasize. The innuendos I hear is that we are trying to stifle freedom of expression. Those kind of things you always splinter around. I want to assure you, if you didn't know, elections are a regulated activity under the Constitution. It's only the Electoral Commission which has the mandate to announce results. And because of that mandate, is given an appropriate budget to do so. And I think you have looked at these numbers. This mandate, you don't just get it because you have a pen and a phone. You don't get these capabilities because you're a journalist, you have a pen and a phone. Then you get the capability of tallying results, later on declaring these results. This is a wider mandate. This is a national activity that can cause a lot of anxiety, that can cause a lot of panic. That's why a whole commission, this time round, headed by a justice of the Court of Appeal, a Supreme Court judge, justice, yes. So election results are not news as usual. Man bites dog, or dog bites man, that news of ours. No, this is regulated news. Like UNEB results. I've been giving you this example. Like UNEB results. You can't be a good investigative journalist. You go to a marking center, peep there, and see Bosa has gotten 20 out of 20 in history in number 2, and you come and announce that I peeped, and I'm an investigative journalist, accredited by media, whatever. Yes, now I've seen, while these people are still marking, Bosa got 20 out of 20 in history paper 2, number 2. And you declare that one as news. Nobody will accept that. Bosa, of course, if you did that, Bosa will be excited. But what happened to number 3? What if he gets 0 in number 3? He ends up failing that paper after declaring him a winner, just because you have seen one number which has performed very, very well. You know what? That's a kind of anxiety. What kind of anxiety will cause? That is to Bosa. Imagine what happens to an election. So, declaration of results is only mandate of the Electoral Commission. And we shall direct, and we have directed, that every piece of result you announce on your radios, on your TV, online, must be from the Electoral Commission. In my directive, which I'm issuing next week, I'm going to ask you that every announcement of electoral results should be followed by a statement that these results have been verified by the Electoral Commission. I'm going to make that directive. When you issue, say, Nyombo Thembo got 420 on polling station A. Immediately after that, you must say, these results have been verified by the Electoral Commission. Yes, I'm going to give you that clarification because some of you are not sure of what we are talking about. I think with that now, you'll be very sure what we are talking about. So thank you very much. I want to thank you, the media. Since the election process started, we monitor the media very, very closely, and I think there is some sanity. There is some sanity. We are only a few of us this side. I think we shall clap for you, and we request you and encourage you to continue with such sanity, so that this one-day activity does not destroy our good relationship, which we have had for a very, very long time, and which we must have for a very, very long time, even after elections. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming, for God and my country. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam PS. Thank you, the ED, the Uganda Communications Commission. I think the message was very elaborate, very clear, and I think questions from you members. At this point, Madam PS, I know you have
the matters on floor, as if he's giving us a warning letter that you members of press stay on standby. On 15th of January, I'm going to deal with you. Thank you so much.
Segrinya said we follow. There are things that we follow as journalists. If I'm at a tally center or let me say a polling station, they read results, they are entered into the DR form, and they are approved. How wrong is it for me to say that at this polling station, candidate A has gotten this and candidate X has gotten this, but all that will be, the final results will be announced by the Electoral Commission? I think that's not wrong because the results have been declared. But threatening the media that you shouldn't even go to court, I think you should have given us, you should have given us that liberty to go to courts. Yes, we understand you have a very strong law firm, but let the media also practice what it has to do as the media. Thank you.
Better, thank you.
Mine goes to the PS ICT Ministry. It's about the Africa's first artificial intelligence data center we're setting up.
Constitutional right to access of information, freedom of expression, and participation in free democratic process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, members.
Okay, thank you very much. The questions I am going to speak to will later on be elaborated by the ED. And I think the one question that kept on coming up is we have had previous experience of shutting down internet during election period. So how do we guarantee that this will not happen this time around? And my response to this is that the previous shutdown that we saw was informed by the circumstances that prevailed then. Over the years, the 5 years, we have garnered experience in understanding what was the cause of this, how do we come up with mitigation measures to guard against this. And I believe the journey that the ED has spoken to, engaging the media fraternity in the various regions, the broadcasters, the owners of media houses, and so on and so forth, as well as engaging digital content creators. I think yesterday, His Excellency the President engaged digital content creators. We are trying to ensure that we educate users of the internet on how to use it effectively and guard against what would cause what we are all anxious about. So in this regard, the Ministry of ICT, working together with all the partners, the regulator and all other stakeholders involved, have put in place measures to ensure that we guard against it, against this happening again. So the ED is going to further elaborate on this, but that is the guarantee that we are giving. The second question is on the first AI data center. I didn't understand whether that data center is being hosted on the continent or in Uganda. I'm not aware of the AI data center in Uganda. However, to speak to the other questions, what is Uganda doing to guard against the effective utilization of data for Ugandans? We have a regulatory framework to support this. We have a data protection office that is in place to implement the data protection law of the 2019 data protection law that we have. So Ugandan data is protected under that framework and its utilization accordingly. In terms of supporting job creation, researchers, and anybody who wants to effectively use this data, they do work within the confines of that framework. When we are sharing data for research, that data is, we call it anonymized. We give you the data that you can use for research that does not breach privacy in any regard. So that we are doing as a country. And in terms of AI, where have we reached as a country? We are currently developing our artificial intelligence strategy that we expect to be ready by the end of this financial year. However, all the other laws that we have in place, the Computer Misuse Act, the Data Protection Law, Electronic Transactions Act, and all those are supporting the utilization and effective use of artificial intelligence. So, and in terms of job creation, we are doing anything and everything in our power as the Government of Uganda, working in partnership with the private sector to be able to support job creation leveraging on ICT. We have a number of initiatives that we have kick-started to ensure that we support job creation within the country and even outside the country, leveraging on ICT. I think on a later date we can go into that detail, but we have labored to emphasize our support of business process outsourcing, which is aimed at creating employment opportunities. So back to the subject of today, which is misinformation and how media engagements are going to be managed during this period towards the polling day, is what our focus is on today. And I will call the ED to be able to carry this forward. In the interest of time, not that I don't speak Luganda, but I am time barred and have to be able to rush for the next engagement. Thank you.
Now you can see, thank you, Madam P.S. You can see how we can be blamed. Because my voice is hoarse. I don't know how I would have beautified my voice this morning, especially with the small cough I have, it is even worse. I'm sure that's why you are interpreting my communication to you as being strong. But nevertheless, when I'm communicating something of such importance, I don't know how you wanted me to communicate it. I'm sorry if you thought I was threatening you, but I was telling you the truth. You didn't want to hear the truth. I don't know. Even preachers, when they are telling us about hell on the pulpit, in the church and the mosques, the imams, when they tell you, don't do this because you can go to hell, you see how serious they can be. They can't do it while laughing. Because they are dealing with a very, very serious matter. The matter I'm dealing with is very, very serious, which can lead to serious regulatory sanctions. My work is to ensure that all the 300 radios plus the TVs, how many are they? 70 TVs plus. My major work is to ensure that they are on, because they give a service to our people. I feel bad when one radio is put off air because it has flouted some regulations. I feel bad as a regulator, because as a regulator, my work is not to switch on, off, mainly is to switch on, to license you. That's the work I do with grace. When you ask for a license, we issue a license, I celebrate. We celebrate because we have got another partner to serve our people. When somebody else comes, we celebrate. We pop the champagne, because you see how we inaugurate newcomers when we have licensed them. We celebrate. That's our main work. Unfortunately, when you don't keep to your licensing obligations, you can face the opposite of that. And there's no way you can communicate that while smiling. I've been with you in this space for quite some time. You have never had me talking like this. I was your Minister of State for Communication for 5 years. I've been the head of this regulatory agency for 2 years. Some of you, I think, you have just seen me today to know that I even exist. But I deal with you. I deal with you on a daily basis. This is a serious matter. My colleague has told you how a radio or a TV can get into very, very turbulent winds if you didn't comply with your licensing obligations. So I'm sorry if you thought I was strong, but there's no way I would deliver this with a smile. I don't know. I don't know. I'll ask my public relations officer to advise me next time I come to you. Maybe I'll come with roses. I'll first give each one of you a rose if I address you. But really, I'm dealing with you on a serious matter. On a serious matter, I'm not threatening you. A regulator can't threaten stakeholders. Your stakeholders. I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth, and you can see how we can be misquoted. You have heard. I've just been here, just advising you, because when a regulator makes a ruling, we are obligated to advise you that we are not final in this ruling. That's an obligation. If I made a ruling, I'll tell you, you can appeal to courts of law. That's also under the law. I told you clearly, when I come here, I come when I'm highly briefed by my legal experts. I'm not here to make blunders. So please, forget about how I look like. Forget about my hoarse voice. You just get the substance. What I'm telling you. Follow the law to the letter. Follow your licensing obligation. Follow the directives of the regulator, because the directives of the regulator are lawful. If you think the regulator has crossed the red line, is becoming unlawful, there are a lot of remedies around you. You can use those channels. But I was saying, please, I don't think we need to go that far, because by the time we give directives, we are doing it on behalf of the people of Uganda under the law. So please, sorry if you thought I was too harsh. I'll find a way to beautify my voice and so that we receive this message with flowers. Internet, who is to blame if it were to be switched off? I hate speculation. I don't want to speculate on this. I've told you, if internet were to be switched off, we would brief you. And you know when you use that if, is that the third whatever of the if? It's an impossibility, according to me, now. I don't want to involve myself in some astrology of some kind to start predicting what will happen the next day, start predicting what will happen next week. I'm telling you that the reference point, if internet were to be switched off, would be the regulator. I've told you, and it would originate from 3 partners or stakeholders. Consumers can say there's a problem. We listen, assess, and see what to do. The operators can say we have a problem. We listen, assess, and see what to do. Government can say there's a problem. We listen, assess, and see what to do. But I can't speculate. Like who to blame? Who to blame? Well, if robbers attacked a road, if a road, there were robbers on the road and the police say, don't move today, don't move now. First way, there is a problem ahead, and they restrict traffic. Do you blame the police or the robbers? To me, who to blame? Anybody who would have weaponized our amazing internet to do things that can cause problems to the country would be the one to blame. Because that's the only reason which I can say that would force any stakeholder to say, switch off internet. That is, the consumers, they can only do that if they think the internet has been weaponized to an extent to dismay, to erase the benefit of internet. Or government, if you said internet has been weaponized, I think the weaponization of internet has erased the benefit from internet. So do this. So who to blame? Those people who would have weaponized the internet to a level where it erases the benefits of internet. So you want to blame the consumers, you want to blame government, you want to blame the regulator, you want to blame the operator, but you blame those bad guys who want to weaponize our good internet for some other purposes that can erase the wonderful benefits of the internet. BitChat. You see, sometimes we get excited by some small things. We know BitChat. We know BitChat more than anybody in this country. I want to tell you this. Government has facilitated the regulator. I have the highest concentration of software engineers and electrical engineers in this country. I have the highest concentration. When I say I mean Uganda Communication Commission. I have the highest concentration of software engineers and electrical engineers in this country. Paid government to work for the public good. You can't use BitChat to disrupt peace. If you're using BitChat for the good, wonderful. BitChat, we know it, you can use it. We know a protocol called Nostrum. It uses Nostrum protocol, uses Bluetooth under the unlicensed spectrum, which we don't license. We know how it works. We know how it can be made not work. So don't be excited by BitChat. It's a small thing. Don't be excited by it. It's a very, very small thing. We know it, and so that one shouldn't excite you. Our viewers who are here, they should know that we know BitChat. There are even others we can tell you which you may not know. But since you have mentioned BitChat, and I was telling you what protocol it uses, using unlicensed spectrum. We know how fragile it is. So don't be excited by that. If you want to commit a crime using BitChat, my sympathies. My sympathies. We know that. But why would you use BitChat when there is internet? Internet will be there. You use internet. You use internet and communicate. Why do you want to use Bluetooth? Why do you want to use Bluetooth? So I don't come in when journalists are beaten. Now what would I say as a regulator? No, what would I say as a regulator? Is that a beating somebody, is it a communication issue? I regulate communication. Please, please, please. Don't give me other mandates. You know very well that if a policeman beats you, you go to the police council. You complain to the police. You complain to the leaders. Now you want me as a regulator of communication to come and say what? Please, 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 please. I have too much on my plate. I wouldn't take on the role of other people. Please, please. You know where to go. You are journalists. You know where to go. Yeah. Then somebody was saying, how do we balance? Again, this is speculation. But how do we balance between the constitutional right, whatever? You see, the viewers, and we have to read the Constitution always in the context. I'm not the Attorney General. The Attorney General is there to interpret the Constitution. But what I know is that the right to communication has so many other methods of communication. I don't think the Constitution would be offended if one tool of communication had an issue. But if people couldn't walk, cannot post letters, the radios are switched off, the TVs are switched off, then there will be a constitutional crisis, I think. But one tool of communication, if it had a problem, I don't think that will be unconstitutional. But we are assuring you, like the PS has said, that so far, there is no indication that the internet will be switched off. If that indication there, and we take a decisive action in that direction, we'll come back to the same podium and brief you and tell you why we've decided to take that action. Same podium or any other media, we will come back. But I don't want to speculate on this. Internet is on. For you in Kampala, you are even on 5G. Metropolitan Kampala, the whole of Metropolitan Kampala, 4G and 5G. The whole country, around 70% now, 4G, very high speeds. You've heard Starlink is coming, collaborating with the Airtel. I think we'll be launching this week, so that you can be getting signals anywhere in the country. Our work is to ensure that there is ubiquitous broadband everywhere, all the time. Thank you very much. Mwebale nnyo mikwano gyaffe. Tuli wano olwaleero ne mukama wange omukulu w'abakozi mu Ministry ya ICT National Guidance okubayitiramu ku bintu ebimu ebikwatagana n'emirimu gye tukola. Ffenna tumanyi nti nno tugenda mu biseera bya kulonda. Ebiseera by'okulonda byewanisa nnyo emyoyo gy'abantu, kubanga buli omu aba alindirira, bannaffe abeesimbyewo balindirira obadde kye babadde balaba mu nkuŋŋaana zaabwe bwe kinaavaayo ne mu mabokisi. n'abawagizi be batyo. So ebiseera byakwewanika mitima eri abantu baffe nga bwe mumanyi nti mu nsi zaffe zino demokrasi akyali muto. N'olw'ensonga eyo tukubiriza bannaffe mwe bannamawulire kubanga mwe mutuusaako eyo gye tutasobola kubeera mwe mutubeererayo. Tubakubiriza olwaleero nga bwe tuba twogera nti mukozese obuvunaanyizibwa, mukozese obumanyi bwammwe bulungi. Tubakubiriza timutunuulire nnyo layisensi zammwe ezaabaweebwa ezirambika obulungi engeri gye muyina okukolamu emirimu gyammwe. Tubajjukiza ebintu ebimu bye muyina okwewalira ddala okukola nga mukola emirimu gyammwe. For example, amawulire agasaasaanya obukyayi tubagambye nti ago gamenya mateeka, mugeewale nnyo, hate speech. Tubategeezezza nti amawulire ag'obulimba, misinformation, mugeewale nnyo kubanga gatabulatabula abantu. Abatakimanyi, amawulire oba information kye kirungo omuntu kyakozesa okusalawo biki byasalawo. It's a raw material for decision making. Information kyufuna is a raw material for decision making. Kati information eyo bweba nkyamu nga ya bulimba, abantu muyinza bakozesa ebintu by'obulimba. Temumanyi titubakkiririzaamu nnyo mikwano gyaffe ab'amawulire. To the extent abantu abamu tebaga nti gundi yagambye, baga radio egambye. Ate oba radio egambye, ate TV egambye. Gwe towulidde ku radio, gwe towulidde ku TV. Kale ekintu ekituuka ku level eyo kisaana okuba nga kikolebwa ku mutindo mulungi, omutindo gw'ebyobukugu nga mwenna abandi wano mu maaso manye ebintu bino mwabisoma, ebimu bye tubagamba wano baali basomesa. Mugoberere ethics z'omunnamawulire. Mumanyi nti nno mwazindibwa, baddamawulire mukimanyi nti mwazindibwa. Olumu mulimu bannamawulire be basasula bagende bayogere ebintu. Journalist on pay. Omuntu omu n'akusasula genda ovume bosa, genda ovume obed, naye munnamawulire n'okola ebintu ebitebiri ethical. Ekyo mukimanyi, mubyewale nnyo ebyo mu mawulire. Tubagambye live streaming, okuweereza ebintu obutereevu naddala ebirimu obusambatuko. Bw'oweereza ebintu ebirimu obusambatuko, ebirimu okukumamu abantu omuliro n'obiweereza butereevu, kuba mukasampatuko mukwekalakaasa abantu bayogera byonna be baagala. Kakati oweereza otya ebintu ebyo nga tobisengeze, ng'ate mumanyi nti mu studio zammwe mulina gye tuyita delay mechanism. Delay tegeeza ki? Kyakuuma ako kakuyamba ti ebintu ebyogerwa naddala ku live programs osooka n'obiraba n'ogamba bituufu n'osooka obiweerezaayo. Naye wano ng'okola live streaming abantu nga beekumyemu omuliro, ekyo kikola otya? Oba tosobola kukikola? Oba ogenda kumenya mateeka? Tubagambe mubyewale. Tubategeezezza mwewale okulangirira ebiva mu kulonda n'okuteekawo embeera egamba nti nammwe mubigattagatta mubiwa abantu. Obwo obumanyi tobulina ne kapasite eyo togirina. Kyova olaba muntu omu mu constitution gwe baateekawo ye electoral commission. Ffenna gwe tulinda atuwa ebyo. Era ne mbategeeza nti nno temugenda mu kulangirira ebintu nga temubijje mu electoral commission. Ffenna tulindidde kulaba electoral commission kye tugamba kubanga ye yaweereddwa budget, yeyina constitutional mandate okulangirira ebivudde mu kulonda. Waliwo munnange wano omu agambye nti nze ndi munnamawulire, ndi ku polling station, presiding officer n'alangirira result, nga gwe gy'oli munnamawulire w'oli awo gwe kennyini nga tebakukubidde essimu, gwe w'oli. Polling station zisukka mu 5,000. Mwenna mmanyi buli radio mmanyi abakozi beerina ne ba journalists beerina. Teriiyo media house in Uganda esobola coveringa wadde polling station amakumi ameka asatu nga babalugulu teriyo yayino mwina ba agenti bammwe nkimanyi nabo tubamanyi by the way tugendanga nabo babasaba nabo tubamanye yes no twagala tubamanye bokozesa yes because they are part of you and a regulator taregulatingako kungulugulu obutimba bwaffe tubukanyuga deeply fetuwulira ekiragiro kya Yesu kye yawa Simon Peter kuba yamusanga avubanga obutimba abuteeke eno nga takwasa n'amugamba kanyuga emigonjo gyo eri deeply so regulator okanyuga emigonjo gyo ddala eri lw'osobola okuvaayo n'omanya sekita bwekola ki bwefaanana so ekyo ngenda kikiralifayingako ekya journalist ng'ali ku polling station presiding officer n'alanga akalulu ngenda consultinga chamber yange nkikiralifayingeko ku directive ntemutya tetuliwo okubanyigiriza ekiri practical naffe tujja kiraba tekiri ki practical naye bino ebyankubira essimu oluusi bye mukola abamulola tubimanyi mumanyi n'okukola ebintu kati mutandise okukola abantu bali wali mu studio ne mubagamba kakati tulina munnamalu waffe ali ettake kababulira ebiri ettake nga muli naye wali mu studio. We know that and now we are coming for that because that is misrepresentation. Kati oli natandika nze gundi Nyombo Thembo okuva Istanbul nga muli naye wali mu studio. Misrepresentation. Toyina anybody in Istanbul olimbya abantu nti olina abantu Istanbul. Kati muli ku ebyo bye mwagala okuddamu. Tuyinza okukola volongoto afaana bw'atyo baana battu mutulekese n'olwekyo twagala omulimu gwammwe gutambule bulungi mwewala abantu abakubira obukubiza amasimu ebiseera by'okulonda omuntu gwesiga nti akubira essimu akuwa information already ali biased ajja kusoma 101 akugambye nti wano Thembo afunyewo 1,000 olangirira ekyo ng'afunyewo 1,000 mukamu ajja kusoma 1,000 aluyite 1,000 kyova olaba nti omuntu alina obuvunaanyizibwa alina ne resources. Electoral Commission tasobola ye kulangirira 1,000 n'akiyita 1,000 tasobola kugatta bubi abantu bajja kukola arithmetic error nawe so mwali badde mutwebaza nnyo nti nno tubaziyiza obutakola ki nsobi nga mweyingiza mu mulimu gwe mutalinamu capacity kola ki kukola n'olwekyo tubagambye ebintu ebyo mbagambye bwe muwulira tukoze ebirangiriro oba ebiragiro nga mulowooza bigenze wala nnyo mujje twogere our stakeholders twogera tuwuliriza ne tuwulira adjustments zetusobola okukola bwe tuba tukoze directive nga teziri practical we can always review. Teriyo directive yaffe eri build install we can review our eyaffe teringa teeka kubanga etteeka directive teringa etteeka lyo limpa okukola directive naye directive eri so easy to amend kubanga etteeka okuli amendinga nnakudda mu parliament naye my directive okujja amendinga era nnakudda mu bakoligi bange aba commission n'olwekyo mujje bugati naye wante muyiseewo there is a problem here. We will see what is practical tutambulire wamu naye tetuleme okukola ebintu ebiyinza okuleeta obusambatuko ebintu ebiyinza okumenya amateeka ffenna ne bituleetera obutasanyuka. Mbagambye nti omulimu gwaffe omulungi gwe tukola nga commission twagala mukole emirimu gyammwe. Buli radio ejja empya n'enjiwa license nsanyuka. Omulimu gwange si kujjako radio, omulimu gwange kwongera radio zigende mu bantu zisavinga abantu. Omulimu gwaffe si kujjako TV, omulimu gwaffe TV kujja zibe nyingi zisavinga abantu. Omulimu gwaffe si kujjako internet, omulimu gwaffe internet kubeerako ewereze abantu. Naye bwe wabairawo obuzibu mumanye ebibaawo. Buli kaseera ekintu kyonna bwe kibaamu obuzibu mumanye ekibekola ki ekibaawo. Olaba twagala nnyo okugulu kwaffe, kugulu ani atayagala kugulu kwe ne munnange waliwo kutuuka abasawo ne bagamba nti munnange okugulu kuno kujja kukutta katukusalireko wano mu vivi. Kiba kibi nnyo naye okugulu babazudde nti kulimu obuzibu. So n'olwekyo tuleme kukola bintu biyinza kumenya amateeka. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Biti kyatereme basi kya musa nnyo eyo tugimanyi mbategeeza tugimanyi bulungi bit chat ekosa bluetooth ena protocol gye bayita nostrom gyekozesa okosa unlicensed spectrum amayengo getawa license okola bu communication meters 100 mita 2 tugimanyi oba oyagala kukozesa eyo okumenya amateeka tojja kusobola kukikola kubanga tugimanyi nabagambye nga regulator nze nsinga okuba n'abakugu mu byempuliziganya mu ggwanga mu ekyo nkibagambye ddala nkiddemu nina abakugu bangi nnyo ba software engineers ne ba electrical engineers eyo babimanyi nnyo babisoma nnyo babimanyi so ekyo kireme kuba kyamusa nnyo ekya bit chat tukimanyi nnyo n'okusinga abakibagamba so there's no problem. Yeah.
Thank you so much.